What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to some more Grand Finals action. We're more than halfway there now. Just two more leagues left to crown Rival and Titan, the best of the best in Nemesis. And I am joined here by none other than the Titan himself, Titan of a Rocket League player, Titan of a chef, and Titan of a caster. What's going on, Bagels?
Oh, thank you. The accommodations are rolling in. Just got off work actually from being chef worthy and whatnot. But I am excited. I saw some interesting results that have been gone through so far. Primary, I really wanted to see that Novice League Grand Finals, but I was working, unable to see it. But I'm sure it was a banger of a series. And even though the other ones weren't as long, uh, I'm sure there were some great watches as well. But we are here in the Rival League Grand Finals. I've casted every single Rival League Grand Finals except for one, and even the one that I didn't cast was a spectacular showing. So I think we got an excellent one here on tap, merely, especially we have the man himself, Biscuit, looking to be the first three-time champion. We're going to have some players shortly after this in the Titan League also looking to be a three-time champion, and I think Biscuit has a good shot here.
Yeah, I think I would agree with, especially with how dominant this Hydra team has been in the regular season and in the playoffs, doing well as well. Two game sevens though, and if there was one blemish on their record, it would have to be narrowly avoiding getting swept by the Arrival roster, which,
Yeah.
although a formidable opponent, was a little bit on Hydra, not playing up to their normal standard, barely managing to pull out the reverse sweep, making it only the second reverse sweep in history. And I'm wondering, with that in mind, Hydra having a couple of slow starts in this postseason, do you still think Hydra have a strong edge in this one?
I think they're still the favorites. Distortion, I was betting on Distortion to make it through, and they did. I think the caliber of players here is going to increase. So I think Distortion is going to have a little bit of a tougher time. That being said, a little bit of a Nemesis factoid. You did mention it, two reverse sweeps. Tashega, the only player in Nemesis to be reverse swept, and the only player to complete a reverse sweep. So if there's any luck on his side, it would be right now to try and get the dub here in Grand Finals. Hopefully, wanting to avoid either of those threats. Um, but I think Hydra has a good shot here. I think Hydra in 6, official prediction.
Hydra in 6, you heard it here first. We will have to see as we get underway. A lot of very key players to watch out for. You obviously have Mayo Tashega bringing up the more mechanical attacking power for this Hydra roster. Sorry, I will say Leche instead. It's so hard for me to not just call him Tashega, but we will use the name he has chosen to represent himself. But on the other side of things, Seabiscuit getting a nice save here, clearing the ball out. On the other side of things, we do have Zap here, who is once again a formidable opponent, someone not to be taken lightly if you are Hydra. And already Distortion causing a little bit of trouble here. But I'm wondering who you think the other key player here for this Distortion roster will be to try and answer back to Hydra's potential pop-off.
I think it has to be Nicolou, as he is here on the defense. They need Nicolou on the defense so bad. And they also need him to hit those third-man cleanup shots from Sense and Zap using their mechanical play to try and break down the defense. So it really comes down to Nicolou. We know what we're going to get out of Sense and Zap. They're just going to be going for some high-flying mechanics. Going to get the bumps, the demos, the boost steals, the dunks right there like Sense just did. And really it comes down to Nicolou on the other side for Hydra. It's really, it feels kind of wrong to say this, but it also feels so right to say this. I feel like it just really comes down to Biscuit. They need Biscuit so much, and he can be a pop-off player, but we know what you're going to get out of Leche and Mayo, who are both really bottom-tier Titan players at this point. And I think it comes down to those two boys.
Absolutely, and I mean, I don't like to call it so early necessarily. Only 2 minutes have gone by, but it looks like we might be seeing another bit of a Hydra slow start. I mean, I'm sure you've noticed as well, there have been a few questionable defensive plays, a lot of uncharacteristic whiffs. Probably just prone to the nerves that come with Grand Finals, but I mean, all of these players are quite experienced. None more experienced than Biscuit, who has been in the grand finals so many times, like we've already talked about, looking to win his 3rd of all time. But so far, nothing has gone too wrong for them just yet. As half the game remaining now, Zap trying to get the flip reset. That's set up in an awkward spot. Sense is forced to make a good touch, but they're sent right back on defense. Lecce trying to get over 1, can't quite find the touch. Biscuit gets 50 in the midfield as well, and Mayo will go up for this one. This is a dangerous spot if you're Distortion. You need someone attacking this quickly, but the shot does not come through to its full power. Able to be saved easily away by Distortion.
Yeah, a few mistakes actually coming out from Hydra in the midfield. A few double commits, and Biscuit got a shot taken away from that. He had a pretty good chance to put in, and shots are at a premium right now for Hydra. A lot of offensive opportunities. Finally, net someone open here, and Nicolou, I said it comes down to him on defense, and he gets a big, crucial mistouch right here.
And that's unfortunate. You really need to clear that either the other way or try to get a much better touch, one that rolls up the wall or doesn't just give a completely free shot to your opponent. I mean, you can expect that Mayo hits that shot 99 times out of 100, probably even more so. Now Distortion, the ones who have to try to answer back. Nicolou with a nice shot to the top shelf, but just barely hits the crossbar. They have had good pressure, but nothing to show for it just yet. 3 shots equal for Nicolou and Zap, but none of them have been too threatening. Well, except that one, but the crossbar, you know, it'll say it's not threatening at all.
Yeah, more of an error on the player, perhaps.
Slightly. That one, you know, you're trying to snipe. Is this one an insane save from Zap, actually? Somehow gets the pre-jump read, pinching it off his own crossbar to prevent the follow-up shot. Now more offense from Distortion, but Hydra in a good position to deal with it. They aren't in a great position to deal with this, though. Sense off the backboard, can't find the follow-up. And the ball lingers in the midfield once again. Biscuit will be first there, but the shot is weak. Hydra trying to continue this aggression, not trying to let Distortion get their opportunities back, even though they haven't been putting the most powerful shots accurately so far. They know what they're capable of. They don't want to give them those looks. Nicolou, no boost to work with the double, but a missed touch off the backboard. Lecce, that's maybe the 2nd or 3rd time I've seen him miss something like that, and this time it does result in a goal for Distortion.
Yeah, and just this Hydra roster looks slow. Both these teams look a little bit slow, but Distortion definitely the faster of the 2 teams. And as I'm sure anybody that's kept up with these Hydra games is, these double commits are an issue for Hydra, but the number one issue I've seen after casting both their games has been their backboard presence. A lot of the times they don't have somebody on the backboard, and especially if you got somebody like Zap and Sense who can go for a double tap. Granted, that wasn't a double tap opportunity, although huge demo comes out. It is just completely open for Mayo. All the mistakes remedied, and they take the lead back.
And this time it's Hydra capitalizing. A huge demo from Biscuit, playing his role perfectly. A questionable challenge there in the midfield from Distortion, but a nice job by Hydra to clean up the play, make the most of the conversion, and secure that they will take the lead with 30 seconds left. But they still have to be careful here. Nicolou will get the follow-up, and a kickoff goal immediately negates the efforts of Hydra.
And, you know, he was trying to go back right, and he didn't quite get enough car on that challenge there to put it all the way back right. And Nicolou speedy on that kickoff. But I mean, back to the point I was trying to make there is Hydra, they really gotta man up on that backboard here in this series. They gotta have people on it. They gotta make sure they're in control of their boost, because otherwise, I guess Sense is just gonna be on their backboard. Doesn't find the touch right there. As Lecce trying to push it out in the midfield. Still a good opportunity. Will be sent away from Hydra, but if they can get that under order, they'll be looking pretty good. But ultimately, they just got to play a faster game here, and it's looking like we're going to approach overtime. And I think the nerves might even be more on display for both these 2 teams, but Distortion is definitely running the show on the offensive side.
We'll see overtime. Hydra has got to be feeling like this never should have been a game where they went to overtime. I will agree, this is a bit reminiscent of the SSG series, where they managed to throw away the game with 1 goal, and now Zap looking for the double touch, somehow almost finds the read. Can't quite find it, but more pressure for Distortion. That was almost the dunk of the century. And Mayo can't read this one. Lecce this time does get the read, but they're still starving underneath this Distortion regimen, just setting up a castle in the Hydra zone. They will break out, and Mayo here for the double touch. Zap can't make the follow-up. Biscuit with the shot. It's sent away, and Distortion actually given space, and I'm not really sure why Hydra is trying to give them this much space. It does work out as Leche manages to get a demo. The pass across, not quite far enough for a shot to be taken. A sense, low boost here, trying to get a 50 in the midfield. Will be sent out to Nicolou, who gets a touch over one. Now here comes Zap. This is a dangerous spot for Hydra. The bump off the backboard, but Zap can't finish the double. Left himself a bit too wide of an angle. And Distortion, I mean, they're being given so many opportunities. You have to feel like they have to convert or else this will happen. Biscuit coming through. He does not miss these clean shots, and he will take game one for Hydra.
Definitely a lot of space being given here. And honestly, you know, a half slot there from Biscuit. It's not a bad shot, but kind of 3 defenders within the realm of possibility of defending that. But really, the ultimate crime there in that overtime was just, like you said, the space was being given to Hydra. And for a team that Hydra was playing the slowest of the two, you got to question why Distortion was giving him that space. And even on that final play that led to that pass in the midfield, it looked like Sense and Nicolou were both kind of creeping up on the challenge, but nobody bid on it. Nobody was going for it. And that left Zap last back flat-footed in net, and they were both on the retreat. And Biscuit is definitely a man of the infield passes. Granted, he was receiving one right there, but still, you know, it may not even been the most well-placed shot, but still, it was just so much space given to Hydra right there, who was playing the slower game.
And well, as our favorite analyst would say, sometimes the best shots are the ones that come right at you, right at the defender. That one, I mean, it was right at almost 3 defenders, but all of them in complete discoordination on the goal line, just couldn't find the save. A great speedy shot by Biscuit, not giving the defense much time to react. But Distortion need to step it up a little bit if they want to take it. Like you said, Biscuit, he's prone to these passing plays. That time he was receiving, but we surely will see more passing from Biscuit, trying to find Mayo, trying to find Leche, and they will not give as much of an opportunity for Distortion to save these shots. They are clinical with their shooting. They'll even opt for a double touch where they don't have to place it as well. They just have to get it past the defender. And if you give them that opportunity, if you give them time to get warmed up, it's going to make it that much more difficult for Distortion. Now down 1-0 in the series, but far from out of it. As we look to kick off game number 2, Biscuit on the dribble, looking to get infield. Already you can see there, he's creeping towards the infield pass. He wants to find his teammates. He wants to get them involved. He knows how much potential they have. Put this ball in the back of the net. Missed touch here, and now Nicolou in an awkward spot. Will do well to read it off the backboard. It's sent right out to Leche, and the team bump coming through for Distortion. They're just not on the same page right now. They need to clean up these mistakes if they want a chance to take this series.
Yeah, definitely. Although a huge start right here, and again, they're just forcing the issue. This is what they were doing for the first half of the game, and finally they're putting up the aggression, and they almost got the job done there in the overtime, but they let off the gas, and now this is good progress here. First 30 seconds, and great touch from Nicolou off of defense to start that transition. And if they could just get those defensive transitions into these offenses, like Zap, with the mechanics, with the pass, with the shot, with off target for Nicolou, the follow-up there for Sense. And that was a cookie-cutter play on what Distortion needs to do, but unfortunately, didn't get the job done.
And that was, like you said, cookie-cutter, a pixel from perfection. Distortion almost nailing and gaining even more of an advantage in this game, too. So far, they've had great looks. They've looked much better, even with a little bit of awkwardness on defense. They've managed to find the offensive counterattacks. Here comes Zap looking for the flip reset. Doesn't have enough boost to finish it off. May not have had the flip reset either. Looked like he should have gone it, but we all know how fickle Rocket League is sometimes. Biscuit in awkward position, manages to barely make a touch. This one sent out. Sense gets a demo on the goal line, but he didn't stick around to finish it. He didn't realize that the ball would just be sitting there on the goal line. Trying to leave it for a teammate to finish off. Still, Distortion in a good spot here with all of the chances. This one going top left, just barely off, but the follow-up from Zap is good, and the pressure is too much. Hydra crumbles.
Yeah, and a decent challenge from Leche to kind of stop out the first solo play, but the follow-up, probably the best thing Nicolou could have done other than putting it off on target on the right side. He put it off the left side where nobody was expecting, and that allowed another quick follow-up from Zap. But huge aggression here. Already 8 shots, less than 2 minutes in. This is exactly what you want to see after Distortion. Kind of, I mean, realistically, both teams kind of, whichever one lost, you could say that they gave that game away. They both had their chances, but ultimately that's how we got into overtime. And Distortion are going to be chomping at the bit here to try and equalize this series, and they're doing exactly what they need to do.
Every time that there is a game which kind of feels like a coin flip, feels like it could have gone either direction, it's very important in the next one to try and come out, try and make a statement. Distortion making a statement here. They held Hydra to only 1 goal and an infield pass. The statement is now emboldened as Zap comes through with the follow-up.
Yeah, and Biscuit actually on the backboard, but kind of going a little bit too early. I mean, really just a good pass. Whether or not Biscuit went a little bit later, the ball was careening down towards the ground. Someone on the second man there needed to make an earlier challenge, and both Mayo and Lecce just kind of went at the same time, but too little too late. And now a huge 3-0 lead here as, again, Hydra kind of has the backboard on lock, but now they're the ones playing a little bit timid, and they're still getting these double commits in the midfield. And on the defensive side, the bump's coming out, but Mayo able to get the save. 2 minutes. Got some time to work with as Biscuit with the dribble. Decent flick, but couldn't get out early enough. And a huge infield pass from Lecce to Mayo, slotted on the right side. And now Hydra with some signs of life.
Distortion still have to be really careful here. That's a nice infield pass. Once again, Lecce finding Mayo. Biscuit isn't the only one who can pass. These are dangerous from Hydra. If they can get more opportunities, more chances like this, game is far from over. And Distortion have to keep doing what they're doing. You know, even though they conceded there, I still like what they're going for. They're trying to keep the aggression up. They're trying to prevent Hydra from getting opportunities. That time, the demo opened up space, but on the other side of things, Distortion still continuing to keep up this aggression, trying to stomp out Hydra. Succeeding so far in the overall game. They have to win the war as well as the battle. Nicolou to the backboard, Mayo with a nice touch. Lecce can't follow up though, and now both defenders in a bit of an awkward position. Nicolou will get it almost through. Almost an unfortunate pinch as well as Sense coming up for this one. It'll just barely bounce off the inside. And actually the ball falls perfectly into Seabiscuit's lap, but he hits it a touch too far away from him. Unlucky how the cards fell there. Nicolou looking for Zap here. He has a free shot, and Lecce just not really able to do anything to counterattack too quick.
Yeah, I think he may have been able to get back, but he kind of hesitated. And honestly, I don't really blame him. It looked like Zap might have opted for the dribble right there, a little fake pop to himself, but once he saw Lecce pull off, he saw the open right side, and I mean, realistically, you got to choose one option or the other, and Lecce chose wrong, and now the 3-0 lead cemented once again. An insurmountable of shots. I mean, 14, here comes another perhaps, but off target. Now, on the counterattack, Lecce with the flip reset. Ball falls a little bit too late as Biscuit is harassing him in the net. And what is, I think the harassment may have led to a team bump. Opportunity for Lecce, and he will put it on the left side. And, I thought Distortion had things under wraps, but a little bit of chaos ensued.
The game is not quite over. I must have missed how 4 players missed that ball careening towards the Distortion net. And the follow-up, just a little bit of panic, leading to a pinch into a nice shot. This game is far from over if Hydra can get another quick one. They will have to still play. Honestly, Distortion, I think the game plan remains the same. Just try to keep up the aggression. Keep Hydra from getting those opportunities. They can't shoot, they can't score. But they will be looking to get some of their own. Biscuit over to Zap. An easy read for him. But Lecce will get a clean beat. This could be an opportunity. Can't quite have enough boost to finish that one off. And the ball is still in Hydra's possession, but you have to feel like Distortion now have this game under control. Still, one more beat. Seabiscuit has to score here, and he cannot do it now with 11 seconds left. I think this will be a little bit too much, although hold up a second. I may have spoken a tiny bit too soon. 7 seconds left, and Hydra coming alive.
Mayo getting the job done. Biscuit with the bump. Lecce, didn't really necessarily need to pre-flip that, but if he can have the confidence to do that, good for him. But it comes down to this kickoff right here. Can they get a good one?
It was Distortion that scored with 30 seconds left. Hydra throwing away the advantage there. It's almost Hydra coming back with their own advantage, but they managed to keep the ball out. As long as Distortion can put this ball down, I think they've avoid the worst, although Seabiscuit can't quite get the touch there. The ball will drop. Distortion, although a little bit too close for comfort at the end there, do manage to get the job done and do manage to just, I mean, really outshoot Hydra. Looking at the stat line, 14 shots. Hydra getting a good amount of shots themselves at 12, but Distortion was that much more accurate and able to come away with this game 2 victory.
Yeah, I mean, Biscuit, he was really close to finding that redirect. I wasn't quite sure if he was going for a bump on the defender or the redirect. Either way, one of the two options was almost met. But yeah, I mean, Hydra really showed up on the offense the last minute and a half. And, you know, I needed that the first 4 minutes. They were sitting at 5 shots. Distortion was outscoring them or outshooting them 13-5. And then they just pulled out 7 or so shots out of nowhere. And then they were the aggressors there in the final minute. But, you know, this Hydra roster, they haven't really been consistent this whole postseason, and that's why they've been to these game 7s. And, you know, same thing for Distortion. They've been to 2 game 7s as well. So I think, if anything, we might have another game 7 in the books here merely. And that being said, I don't want to reverse crystal ball this moment, but every Rival League Grand Finals I've casted has gone to game 7. And half of them have gone to overtime in game 7. So I think we're in for a treat.
Well, we just might be if that is, well, the way playoffs have gone so far, combined with your caster buff. One thing, as a nice goal here for Hydra, big demo from Mayo, the solo play coming through, and he's stepping up in game 3 here already.
Yeah, and just a kind of a ballsy challenge from Sense in the midfield that just didn't need to be done. There's only one thing that Mayo could have done with that ball, and realistically was give up possession to the third man, although he did get the bump to boot right after. But if Sense doesn't go there, there is somebody back as Lecce just barreling through both men on the kickoff. So Sense gonna work his way around the incoming Hydra attackers, and good way to, well, not really a great way to score. Great if you're Hydra, not if you're Distortion. Realistically, a goal that should not have gone in. But, you know, after they're used to being the aggressors there in game number 2, that's probably why Sense felt he needed to go for that challenge there. But Hydra, they've stepped it up last minute of game 2 and first minute of game number 3 here, and they're picking up the pace. They're trying to match this Distortion playstyle.
They have succeeded in game 2. Biscuit making a close save there. That one certainly on target, an important touch for him to make, but Sense getting it past one. Biscuit coming through with a bump, and one thing I've noticed, Hydra seems to have switched up their game plan a little bit, getting much more. Again, Zap coming through with the flip reset. I hardly even saw that one coming. So quick on the conversion into the double touch. What a play.
And, you know, I was knocking Hydra the past few series for not having a man on the backboard, but again, Biscuit was there, but that was such a quick, he used his flip immediately, and not only did he use it right away, he got the most perfect touch, and it just went bar down and in. Excellent shot from Zap, and they're pushing more off this kickoff of the Zap. Not a great touch right there, but still huge momentum after that, giving up that opening goal. And I mean, what a way to tie it back up.
If there is one player that this Hydra roster most definitely fears, Biscuit told me himself. I was playing a little bit of ranked with him the other day, and he said that he was feeling confident in the grand finals, but if Zap managed to pop off, then it could be a tough series. And it seems like Zap has showed up today. He is on his A game, looking to take it to this Hydra roster. He's definitely giving it his all. I mean, he scored 4 shots in the last, or 4 goals, I should say, in the last one, as possibly another opportunity here. Zap, if he's quick enough, might be able to get it, but the bounce a little bit too awkward. The follow-up just off the post, Nicolou couldn't quite get there. Distortion with another chance. They'll wish they had that one back as a ball heading straight for their net. Sen's forced to flick this one wide, faking himself out a little bit, but manages to get a pre-flip touch. A little bit of fortune, a little bit of skill, as the game remains scoreless. Hydra still keeping it much more even than previously. They've adapted well so far, but they might have to do a little bit more if Distortion is going to be bringing this type of offense.
And they're going to have to do more than hold on, and they're getting a few chances, but now Distortion kind of starting to match the pace once again. Not really double committing at all, but I got to bring it to Nicolou again. He hasn't scored since game 1, and he's shot the ball almost 10 times. He got 6 or 7 shots in game number 2 there, and he's sitting at 2 right now, and he missed that open net just a minute ago, and a solid opportunity the minute before that. And if Nicolou just hits even 1 or 2 of these shots, Distortions is in even more favorable position. And haven't really seen too much scoring out of Sense either, although infield pass almost coming to fruition there. Haven't seen too much from Sense, but he's definitely having an impact on this field. And Nicolou's just having more of the chances and not capitalizing on those chances. And we got another close ball game here with a minute left.
And it really seems like this entire Distortion roster, Sense and Nicolou, really playing a sort of almost Furious style from London, where Lecce couldn't quite get there. The shot just barely off target. And heartbreak for Hydra as they almost had another one. Both teams missing huge opportunities. But it really feels like Sense and Nicolou here trying to play a supporting role for Zap, which you can understand when he's popping off like this much, but you still have to be careful. This is going to be a counterattack for Hydra. And the demo coming in, it will be open, but the shot was that saved by Biscuit?
I think it may have been off target. I don't know if it was actually saved. It was hard to tell because, we got smoke screened.
It looked like it was going post. I don't know if it was going in, but Biscuit definitely got a piece of that one. And another chance going wide. This game, the theme is just missed opportunities. Zap trying to remedy that for his own team as Sense getting the pass down. Biscuit somehow ready for it, manages to send it away. 5 seconds left. We might be headed to another overtime. Mayo trying to get up to Lecce for one more last chance. Mayo there, but the shot pre-jump blocked by Zap on defense. He is just as impressive as on offense. The tensest of situations, and Distortion narrowly avoiding getting scored on. Now it's anyone's game once again. Who will be able to take the edge in this game, the edge in this series, and push forward?
Comes down to overtime again. Game 3, a huge swing game, overtime, no less, and a huge save from Zap again. As infield pass comes out, Zap, he cannot get to this one though. Stellar on defense the whole series, but this one absolutely slotted.
And the infield pass is just the kryptonite for Distortion, and the strong point for Hydra. A beautiful way to finish off the overtime quickly, save some of their mental stamina. They didn't want to defend against more Distortion plays, and they deal with it in the best way possible, just shutting it down, shutting down the game, taking the advantage, and now up 2-1. I mean, Distortion has been pressing the issue. They've been getting so many looks at the net. It's hard to imagine how much harder they can press. If you're Distortion here, do you try to go back to the drawing board and draw up a different strategy, or do you just keep trying the same thing and just try to hit your shots a little bit more accurately?
I think it is the latter that you just mentioned there. They just need to hit their shots. They only got 8 in that game, which is still a respectable amount. But when Hydra has put up 14 shots game 2, 13 game 3, it's only a matter of time before these shots go in if you're going to be getting outshot the whole game. And Hydra played extremely slow in game 1. And the fact that Distortion did not win that game is really kind of a travesty because Hydra won the game that they were playing the least perfect Rocket League in. Granted, Distortion comes back, they play a really good game too. But Hydra, they warmed up in that last minute of game 2, and they stepped up big here in game 3. They're not producing the most amount of goals here, but Hydra is doing... They're starting to perfect their play style, and I'm getting a little worried here for Distortion because, like I said, it comes down to Nicolou. Sense has been absolutely great in the midfield. A few double commits here and there, which kind of had led to the defensive breakdown for Distortion. Sense and Zap kind of struggling to find out who is first man at times. So if they could get that worked out, but at the same time, so many chances are being given to Nicolou on this rotation, and he's not the star-studded player that Sense or Zap is, but if the opportunities are going to be presented to you as third man, you got to be hitting them, and he's just missing his shots, and he's not really getting credited with that many shots because some of the opportunities are just going that far wide. And even on that last play, he pre-flipped to stop the infield pass, but if he doesn't pre-flip, I think he's actually in a better position to block that ball because he's taking away his opportunity to use that flip to counter where the player hits it. So again, it comes down to Nicolou, and I'm expecting him to do big things here game 4.
And he'll have to try and get it going. You really don't want to go down 3-1, especially against this Hydra roster. We've talked about it before, but the slow starts can be very real to them. Even like you just said, game 1, they looked exceptionally slow compared to their usual selves. Game 2, stepping up more so. Game 3, getting even further. You have to feel like these early games might have been the difference maker. Distortion was able to capitalize. They were both games that Distortion could have won with just one more goal, one more opportunity capitalized on, but instead Hydra kind of sneaks away with the wins, and Distortion will have to work that much harder. A huge dunk coming out from Biscuit, and he will put home another one for Hydra.
And Zap and Nicolou kind of both in the same spot, and you know, I'm just gonna say he pulled a bubbly. You can't dribble out of defense and try and fake. You just can't, because not only are your teammates expecting a 50, but the other team is just gonna pounce on you, and that is exactly what happened. You cannot try and fake as first man on the dribble on the defensive side of things, and just a bad decision from Zap right there, who's been playing pretty excellent this whole series. So kind of questionable for him to try and slow things down when the speed has been working out. And now, you know, Hydra scored first last game, but Distortion tied it back up pretty quickly. So gonna need another quick response.
And to be fair, earlier in the series, it seemed like Hydra, with their slow rotations, was giving quite a bit of space to Distortion, maybe, but they've adapted their playstyle. They've gone more aggressive. They've been shutting down these Distortion plays more rapidly, and Distortion has to respond to that. They can't keep trying to go for the same strategy that may have worked earlier on in the series, because it's just not going to work anymore. Hydra, a very adaptable team, and Distortion, on the other hand, not coordinated at all right here, getting a team bump, almost leading into a goal, which it might eventually lead into if they're not careful. Luckily on this one, Lecce is all the way back, ready to save that one. Dangerous counterattack, almost just a quick shot from the opposite goal line. But Distortion remained down 1, and goals have not been easy to come by for either team, but especially for Distortion, with the amount of pressure they've had, their scoring accuracy has to be quite low, somewhat due to Hydra's defense, somewhat due to Distortion's inaccuracy. Lecce here, not much boost for the air dribble, will just fake out. Nicolou gets it past him, but Zap is there for the follow-up quickly. Trying to press this issue, trying to get something going. Mayo hitting this one out. Nicolou sending it back towards net. That's not the best touch on defense, but will be sent away, and the pressure is relieved already. Now that we're seeing Hydra, I mean, they look much more warmed up. They look faster. They look more ready for these Distortion plays, and Distortion looks like panic mode is already starting to set in a little bit for them.
Yeah, this is just a strange Game 4 overall, as Mayo looking to get this one through off the crossbar. And he had a lot of options right there, but I think he may have chose the wrong option. I would have liked to see him go for the flip reset. The fake almost working, though. Opportunity for Biscuit off the backboard, almost hits the shot, too. But I was going to say this game, you know, granted 3 shots have just rolled in for Hydra here, but I was going to say this is pretty reminiscent of Game 1. It is a slow midfield game. A lot of space being given in the midfield, and this is what is allowing Hydra to start air dribble after air dribble, not converting on them quite yet, although it's only a matter of time here before another one slips through. Distortion only sitting at 1 shot. They got a minute and a half to mount this comeback. It's only 1 goal, but still Hydra infield passing out of defense, and they got to get something going here. And honestly, at this point, I don't know what it is, because they're just double committing a lot again.
And, I mean, this is the same Distortion that we saw just 2 games ago, shooting 14 shots on target. Granted, that was the game they won, but now being held to 2 here, I mean, Hydra has completely neutralized the offensive presence that Distortion has had, somewhat due to Hydra stepping up and somewhat due to Distortion just not being able to break out of their own half, not getting these touches that they need to, not finding each other anymore. But now with under a minute left, in a do-or-die situation, you have to try to get something fast here. It's time to pick up that aggression again, just go all out, and it's time to not just miss the ball. Zap barely able to get back. It's still a tough spot for Distortion, as Mayo will try to take possession here. Can't quite find it. The follow-up is quick from Hydra, and there's no Distortion players even nearby. This one off, but Biscuit will get the beat. Sense has to take control here, does well, but Mayo quick to the challenge, not letting Distortion have an inch, much less a mile Lecce getting the beat here. And with time ticking away, Distortion needs to find something now. Sense looking for the redirect. It's just off target. And one more chance as Zap trying to send this one center. Nicolou, he's the man we called on to step up. Gets the touch, but it's not the best touch. And the whiff comes out. Hydra can't make the touch, but Distortion can't either. And Distortion just not able to find anything in this game. I mean, you have to feel for them, but the mental issue seems like they're pressing. They're starting to just retreat.
I just don't know what happened. What I do know is that was a pretty underperforming game from Zap. His touches did not look confident on defense. Ever since he kind of got stomped out in the first 30 seconds on that dribble, he did not look comfortable on the ball at all. He tried to start a lot of solo plays, but the touches were just too heavy, and just a poor game from Zap right there. And besides, Nicolou, he did have a whiff on defense there in the last minute, which obviously not good. Luckily, Hydra didn't score off of it. But I really thought Nicolou played pretty well in this game, and he even tried to get that last little soft touch pass there at 0 seconds, but just nobody quite in position to try and convert on. 0 seconds, always extremely difficult to do so. And Hydra ultimately had the beat on that ball, but they just ended up whiffing it out. But I mean, again, if they just need to put shots on. You can't put 2 shots up against this Hydra team. And I think they take their time out here, maybe trying to work on the rotational side of things. Zap didn't look like he was having good comms or just good touches on the ball at all. Sense, again, not scoring, but he's playing a really solid midfield game, doing everything he can for his team. And Nicolou had some good touches as well, but if this team is relying on Zap that much, and Zap has one bad game and they can't even muster 3 shots, I'm a little worried for what's going to happen going into Game 5. Granted, every single game has been 1 goal. It's been extremely close, but they gotta work together here.
And Distortion did take a timeout, but it looks like they're opting to join up anyways.
They're ready. I don't know.
Well, I guess they only need half a timeout. The timeout feint, we haven't seen that one before. They just, well, we're gonna take a timeout, guys. Never mind, we're good. We got this.
Oh,
Biscuit. Oh my goodness, almost looked like one of your pinches bagels. Not quite on target.
After my own heart.
Fantastic power on that one, and now it's a long road ahead for Distortion. We've seen that they have the potential to do this, but Hydra is so solid. Even we know their mental's not going to crack. They came back from 3-0 down against a rival as Zap almost getting another ridiculous dunk. That's the second time he's almost done that since, with a huge shot to the corner. Somehow blocked away by the defender. And Distortion already almost matching their shots from the last game. They have to try to keep up this performance if they want even a chance to come back. But like I was saying, it's not an easy road ahead. They're going to have to do... they're going to have to play some phenomenal Rocket League if they want to break through here. Starts with 1 game at a time. Lecce with a nice shot to the corner. Zap can't get there in time. And Hydra right back at it. Take the lead again.
Yeah, and a little bit of a ballsy challenge from Nicolou, but again, on the offensive side, or in the midfield, Zap was just creeping out a little bit too far. And again, Hydra, they score first. But Distortion had the first opportunity in this game. They had that solid infield pass over to Sense, and accuracy just not there again for Distortion. And Hydra, they've had a lot of offensive heavy games. They've had a lot of high shot games, but they're not really missing their shots. It's just that Distortion is playing solid defense. Distortion, they've had high shots, they've had low shots, but the main problem for them is they're just not hitting them. They need to find the accuracy and cut down on the double commits literally everywhere, on the defense, in the midfield, on the offense. Starting out a passing play here, but no third man to follow it up just yet. And they need to find a quick ass, because they don't want to have it come down to 0 seconds once again.
Yeah, 0 seconds is not the place where you want to be trying to find your equalizer. And honestly, they would like to avoid an overtime if they could as well. I believe Hydra has gone the better of them on the 2 overtimes that have happened so far in this series, seeming to have a little bit more of that ice factor. But this is a free opportunity. Sense, if he can somehow get this on target. It was extremely difficult touch to find towards the net. But Distortion has Hydra press back in their zone. They just have to push a little bit harder. They have to take advantage. Mayo with the mistouch, Sense with a high shot. It's not quite on, and once again, the accuracy not there. Distortion sent back into their own half. They're going to try to break out again, but now the demo's coming out for Biscuit. The shot from Lecce. I didn't even see what happened. I bet it was an impressive shot, but Hydra will take the advantage once again, or even further.
Yeah, I was going to say perhaps we might get a second look, but the second look remained to be the first look. So I'm looking on the second monitor to see what's happening. And, just the two demos come out. And Biscuit, when I think of Biscuit, every time I've played with Biscuit, I've seen him, I've casted him. Basically, it feels weird to say at this point, over the years I've seen him play. Not a physical player, but maybe that might have been the gameplay as he gets another one. I mean, he's playing like bubbly out there right now. He's just getting so many demos in this series. He already has 3, maybe even 4 demos here in this match point game. And Distortion do not look comfortable at all as Biscuit will convert on a third rotation out of order completely for Distortion.
And you don't want to call it too early, but a beautiful passing play there from Hydra, just putting it even further out of reach from Distortion. I mean, they were only able to get 2 shots in the last game. They only have 1 shot this game, even though they've had so many opportunities to put the ball on target. Every single time is just a little bit wide, a little bit off, and even when they do get shots on target, it seems like they are saved away most of the time. Hydra taking command of this series, looking to finish it off in 5. It looks like they might just do that. Distortion need a miracle here. We'll see if they'll get it. This one sent high. Lecce looking for the double. That one's pinched awkwardly, but once again, Biscuit back. Solid third man. He's so used to these positions. He will not let anything through. Distortion are going to have to do something truly wonderful here as Lecce getting the beat on 1. Getting another touch, just making it that much more difficult for Nicolou to find it clear. And Sense will take control. Kind of fakes out Mayo. Not able to get it past the second, though, and Distortion just sent right back into their zone. A minute left, and I mean, it looks like it might just be wraps. They haven't been able to break through this Hydra defense for almost 2 games now, and now they have to do it 3 times. I mean, I just don't think I see it happening.
Yeah, and I thought they might have caught out Lecce on the counter there, but, staying calm under the pressure, just a slow rotate back, able to push it to his own corner. And every time even an aggressive play is coming out, the third man not on the same page. They went for a bump play as one more just might make it in, but Zap push it off to the side, but still just pounding this ball against the Distortion side of the field. And Biscuit has likely put in the dagger.
At Biscuit, we can sing the praises of Mayo and Lecce all day, but some has to be offered to this man as well. He really came in. You said it yourself. It's on him to step up, play the game, and play his game. And he's played it nearly to perfection in the latter half of this series, really stopping Distortion from being able to get anything. And another goal gonna fly in, but this one is so far out of reach, it doesn't even matter. A little bit more scoring going on, but you can't say that Hydra didn't deserve this. They played the better Rocket League, and really, once they warmed up, I mean, it just felt like they were never going to lose this.
Yeah, and a little bit early on the GG call right there, but granted, this game is severely... Oh, Zap said it first. I thought it was in toxicity there for a second. But all good here on the field. But, yeah, just Distortion... Every game, besides this one, was a 1-goal game. And then Hydra, once they got going in that game number 2, I mean, they did not look back. And they lost game number 2. And as this clock hits 0 here, the ball will touch the ground. We have Nemesis history, folks. Biscuit is the first 3-time in Nemesis. And congratulations to him and the rest of Hydra.
Congratulations to Biscuit. Congratulations to Hydra. Honestly, I don't think there's a single person in Nemesis that deserves this more than Biscuit. He's been putting in the work for forever. The man just wins. Also, just such a wholesome human being. Great guy. Proud to call him my friend as well. Really happy to see him get the victory here. He played a really important role, and all of Hydra stepping up to take it to the Distortion roster when, I mean, it really looked like they might have been in some trouble there. They almost were a few times, a few a few games where if it just goes an inch in the other direction, Distortion manages to hit one of their shots a tiny bit more accurately. Could have been a completely different series, but you can't dwell on that too much if you're Distortion. They played well, they came out, they gave it their all, and at the end, it just wasn't quite enough.
Yeah, I mean, really, Hydra could do no wrong after that first game and the first half of game two. Like, and they played the worst Rocket League they played in the whole series in game number one. They stole that game, played extremely poorly game two, and then just rifled off 8, 9 shots in a minute and a half. And really, even though they lost game two, Distortion was on the back foot ever since. And not only could they not get through Hydra, Distortion unfortunately just couldn't get out of their own way. They were not on the same page, and when they were, the conversions just were not met. Um, Zap played excellent Rocket League, and then Game Four happened when he got dunked, and that dunk really must have thrown off something in the confidence factor because ever since that dunk came out, he did not look good on the field, and they lost Game Four by 1 goal. So goals for a premium here in the series. Besides that extremely weird game one and extremely weird game five, 5-0 game five, 4-3 game one, and just the accuracy for Distortion. If, like you said, if they hit one shot here, if Nicolou gets one of those opportunities, game two, game three, game four, could be headed to Forbidden Temple, could be headed to Champions Field, but we'll never know. Hydra are your rival league champions.
And it really did feel like that dunk in what was it, game three, I believe?
Game four. Yeah.
Game four, that's right. That dunk in game four, I mean, it felt like the tide was already turning, and that dunk just turned the tide into a tsunami. Hydra never looking back once they gained the momentum, just held on and kept Distortion within arm's reach, shutting them down. Beautifully played by them. Once again, congratulations to them. Congratulations to Distortion as well for the runner-up place. Second place is no slouch. Still making it farther than some people were expecting them to, with some insanely close games along the way. Obviously, you can't win them all. But that will do it for our Rival League Grand Finals. 4 of the 5 champions have been crowned. We only have one more series left, and all of the champions will be evident for Season 7. Coming up next, we have Blizzard. Wait, Blizzard. Haven't we heard that name before? I feel like that's a little bit familiar. Oh, yeah, that's right. They've been in the grand finals 2 times before this. Oh, yeah, no big deal. Oh, they're going for their third back-to-back? Oh. Oh, so they must have the same roster. Oh, they replaced Soars, and they're still in the grand finals. Okay, so these guys are just absolutely legendary. Pinnacle, I'm not going to lie, have a very, very tough matchup on their hands. Hopefully, it will be a good series. I know you're going to be casting that one, Bagels. I'm sure you're excited for it. It was a pleasure casting with you as always. And with that said, we will be heading to a short break, after which, like I said, coming back to the Titan Grand Finals. Thank you guys for sticking around. One more series, and we will see the conclusion of Season 7. Catch you right after this short break.